back at it with Project 55. The last couple times out, we've worked on the suspension, but underneath the car. Well, now we're going back inside. We're going to install some of the rear panels, the quarter trim panels, and start reassembling the interior. We'll start with this rear hatch cover. We painted this, and replaced the clips. These are the normal door panel clips for Foxbody, so if yours are damaged, that's all you need to replace. All the screws we're using are actually part of our interior screw kits we carry. You can't obviously reuse the originals, but we carry these kits that come labeled to give you every screw you need for basically your entire interior. It'll make your life a lot easier. All right, now we're moving on with the quarter trim panels. It's definitely nice to have two people for this job. I'm gonna put one screw in just sort of as an anchor right now. We'll sort of work around this. Again, all these screws are included in that interior trim kit we talked about earlier. We're putting these screws in again, don't crank them real hard. You're screwing the plastic, and in many cases, 25-year-old plastic. Just be careful, don't ever crank them. Just get them firmly into place.
So this is my idea about taking the whole wiring out and then fixing it up, and then we're also going to leave no wiring in the engine bay. So we're gonna make the engine bay look really clean and hide all the wiring, which is a lot of work, a lot.
And who was put in charge of doing that?
Me, sadly. The person that came up with the idea was a total great guy.
So you're just basically taping it up to look nice?
Yeah, so one of the big things is with the old insulation on these cars, the old insulation just falls apart and then the wiring just get loose. So what I'm doing is retaping everything, making it look nice and professional. No, I do not remember what each plug does, so we'll figure it out at that point.
But you did take pictures, right?
Sure.
Now, Brendan, that's not normal tape. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So this is Tessa tape or hockey tape. It's a cloth wrap tape, like the OEM cars used to run it with a cloth style wrap tape. Tessa tape I couldn't find right now, so hockey tape worked perfect.
Why do you use that instead of one?
Yeah.
The one big thing is electrical tape does leave a big residue mess. I just like using the hockey tape and Tessa tape because it looks OEM and looks clean, looks professional.
So, Brendan, would you recommend doing this as part of the process when you have it out? Would you suggest doing this?
I would always recommend to anybody that's ever doing a full restoration on any of their cars to go through the wiring, check all the wiring, because like I found right here, there's a wiring that's spliced in that we can fix up so it's not a hazard or cause any issue later on. So one of these like fixes that we need to do is like this right here. This is the GT headlight harness, and this was the fog light. What they had to do is when you turn the headlights on with the fog lights, it would fry this wire. So you had to add this extra power wire over to the fog lights so it wouldn't fry anything or damage any of the wiring.
So, Brendan, you're going to keep that. You're just going to make it look nicer.
Yeah, we're gonna keep that. We're gonna fix it up so it doesn't look so hokery, look more professional like I like it. Because look, I can just pull that right apart. Junk. Fix all the bad stuff, put all the good stuff in.
You actually enjoy wiring. Why do you enjoy it so much?
I love wiring so much. I mean, one of my favorite things is I love looking at all the wires, where they go, where each piece goes. It has its own single spot. And I love it, like, it's funny, like I love how complicated it is and figuring out like, oh wow, they had to run this wire to this to make this work and make that work. I just love it. It's just so cool how they run everything out and then just see where it goes and put it together and watch it when you flick that switch on, make everything go on.
Brendan, is this strictly cosmetic thing, or is this also a utilitarian purposes?
It's kind of both. What we're doing is cosmetically making it look a lot nicer. Also going through all the wiring, figuring out, oh look, wiring was cut there. I might cut out a couple pieces of wiring that we're not going to be using for the engine harness, and just to make it really just make it look nicer for a nice show car we're doing here.
Definitely a tedious part of the process.
Very, very tedious, very long. Not a lot of people have time and patience for it, but if you do it right, it looks flipping awesome.
So while Brendan's working on the wiring, which neither one of us wanted to do, and thankfully he's covering that, I'm going to start assembling the door panels. And this is the factory trim that goes in the armrest. This is not reproduced, it removes it from the original ones. We're going to install in our freshly painted armrests. Basically, this just seats in this little channel here, and it's held on by staples. All right, we're gonna take our new pads here, line them up with the factory studs. And screw them on. That's radio. This is radio side.
Oh. No, that wouldn't be speaker because they wouldn't go through the door.
Dash speaker, wouldn't it?
Maybe.
I'm thinking a little 3.5s that came from the factory in the dash, because this is radio. The date's still on the harness is pretty cool. 493. Or 12. 493.
Bill, is this one of your least favorite parts of the whole?
You know what's funny is I don't mind adding things in wiring, like wiring up gauges, wiring up like an aftermarket fuel injector. Stuff like that doesn't bother me. The tediousness of this, I don't have the patience for it, unfortunately.
I do.
I'll get extremely frustrated after about 20 minutes of this stuff. But the one thing I'm happy about is that the harness overall is in good shape. We're not seeing a lot of wires that are rubbed through. We're not seeing a lot of damage. I mean, we've dealt with cars in the past that all these wires get chewed up, mice chew them, all kinds of stuff. Here, literally, I mean, the wrap has seen better days, but the wiring, all the connectors, everything's there, and it's not even chopped up. I mean, even this here, yeah, that's our dash speaker grill. That's, you know, the dash speaker wire for the little 3.5 in the dash, and obviously somebody tapped into it at some point to add a different speaker to it, but they didn't cut the plug off, which most people do. I mean, the worst part of the harness would be right here, and then this is normal. This is our stereo plugs. You know, this is all of our power connections here, and these were all the speakers. And they do make plugs for this where you can simply plug it in, but whoever on the car just decided to go old school and just chop everything off and connect it that way. But if that's the worst part of the harness we come across, I'm perfectly okay with that. Since we're working on the dash harness, at some point soon we're gonna actually start reinstalling the dash. And one thing we haven't really looked at too much is the heater box. Now, I know the previous owner of this car had the dashboard out right before I bought it and replaced the heater core. We're gonna take it apart, take a look inside, see how clean it is, and replace or fix anything we have to. Now, heater core is obviously one of those jobs you do not really want to have to do later, so unless you know for sure it's good, at this point you would want to replace it. So yeah, this is actually a practically brand new Ford OE heater core. So we do want to keep that. Yeah, it's probably never even had coolant through it yet. We are going to go through the rest of the box and clean it up. Literally gonna take it apart, take it outside, and hose it down. Like that should be replaced. That's your resistor that basically controls the speed of your heater. And that one has gotten some nastiness on it over the years, so we're looking at replacing that while we have it apart. At this point, the rest of the box is pretty much just glued. So we're gonna start getting a razor blade in there and start cutting down the middle seam here. Yeah, that's gonna have to be replaced. That's supposed to be flat. I'll take it outside and hose it off.
What did you just do, Brendan?
I wired the dash. Just lay it in there. Hope, pray it stays in there. Not my problem. You're a great friend. Thank you.
I'm good, thank you though.
Don't tell Shanna, I'm on a diet.
At this point, we'll let the box dry off, do a little more cleaning, and be ready for reassembly. Now, we're not going to be using the original evaporator core. We're going with the original air setup. And that's going to basically give us all modern componentry that's going to work just like the factory. So they have a replacement for this and a replacement compressor to allow us to run modern refrigerant instead of the original style. All those pieces will be going in once we install the engine.